We've all seen the movies, right? The ones where some charismatic criminal, maybe doing hard time for a crime he may or may not have committed, hatches an elaborate plan to break out of some inescapable fortress. Think Shawshank Redemption. Think Escape from Alcatraz. We're fascinated by these stories, these glimpses into the dark side of human nature, the desperation, the cunning, the sheer will to survive that drives a person to risk it all for a taste of freedom. But what about the real stories, the ones ripped from the headlines, etched in the annals of criminal history, whispered in hushed tones in the cell blocks, the ones that keep even the most seasoned wardens awake at night? Today, we're going deeper than Hollywood, peeling back the layers of some of the most daring, most ingenious, and most unbelievable prison escapes in history. These are the stories that force us to confront uncomfortable truths about the systems we build and the people we lock away. Buckle up, folks, because you're about to enter a world where freedom is the ultimate prize and the stakes couldn't be higher. Alcatraz. The very name conjures up images of cold, unforgiving concrete, crashing waves, and of course some of the most notorious criminals in American history. It was a prison designed to break spirits, a place where hope went to die. But even within those walls, the human spirit, that unyielding thirst for freedom, found a way to flicker. In 1962, three men, Frank Morris, John Anglin, and Clarence Anglin, dared to challenge the notion that Alcatraz was inescapable. These weren't hardened killers, mind you. They were small-time crooks, bank robbers who'd ended up in the most notorious prison in the world. But something about Alcatraz, that sense of utter hopelessness, ignited a spark in them, a desperate need to reclaim their lives. Now these guys were smart, resourceful. They noticed the crumbling concrete in their cells, the ventilation ducts that seemed to offer a glimmer of a way out. And so under the noses of the guards, in the dead of night, they began to chip away at the walls of their cells with makeshift tools, spoons, sharpened metal scraps, anything they could get their hands on. Night after night they'd work, patiently carving out their escape route. To cover their tracks, they'd fashion dummy heads out of soap, hair painstakingly glued on, eyes staring blankly into the darkness. Can you imagine the audacity, the sheer nerve it would take to do something like that? But their plan went beyond just chiseling through concrete. They needed a way to navigate the treacherous waters surrounding the island. So, they taught themselves to make life preservers and even a makeshift raft out of raincoats. These guys were meticulous, leaving nothing to chance. And then, on the night of June 11th, 1962, under a shroud of fog and darkness, they made their move. They slipped through the holes they'd carved, leaving behind their dummy heads propped up in their beds, as if mocking the guards making their rounds. They climbed through the ventilation ducts, reached the roof, and vanished into the night. The next morning, as the sun rose over Alcatraz, casting long shadows across the empty cells, the guards discovered the escape. The news sent shockwaves through the prison system, through the nation.
The spoon proves mightier than the bars at supposedly escape-proof Alcatraz prison. 3 bank robbers serving long terms scratched their way through grills covering an air vent, climbed a drainage pipe, and disappeared from the forbidding rock in San Francisco Bay. It appears to be the first successful escape in the history of the maximum security prison, and the flight is attributed by Warden Olin Blackwell to the deteriorating condition of the prison, crumbling concrete and eroding metals, with $5 million needed for repairs. The men the walls couldn't hold are Frank Morris and John and Clarence Anglin. Authorities believe that Morris, who has a superior IQ, masterminded the escape. Ironically, the wanted posters offer only the nominal reward of $50 each for information leading to the arrest of the prisoners. They painstakingly fashioned dummies of plaster with hair of paintbrush bristles to stand in for them during cell check, while they covered an escape hole with a cardboard grill. All of this was within easy visual range of the guards in the gun galleries. They climbed drain pipes to the top of the cell block and then slid down vents to the ground. Again, all of this within sight of guards. The escape triggered the greatest manhunt in San Francisco's history, as agents of the FBI, Coast Guardsmen, Highway Patrol, sheriff's deputies, and local police joined in the search. Whatever their fate, the three convicts have apparently accomplished a feat that many have tried with no success.
How could three men from one of the most secure prisons on earth just vanish? The FBI launched a massive manhunt, but the escapees were never found. Some say they drowned in the frigid waters, their bodies lost to the currents. Others believe they made it to shore, starting new lives under assumed identities. The escape from Alcatraz became the stuff of legend, a testament to the human will to survive, to the power of hope, even in the darkest of places. It exposed the vulnerabilities of even the most impenetrable fortresses, reminding us that no prison, no matter how strong, can hold a truly determined spirit. Now, escaping from prison isn't always about meticulous planning and elaborate schemes. Sometimes it's about connections, about finding a glimmer of humanity in the most unexpected places, even within the cold, unforgiving walls of a penitentiary. Take the story of Pascal Payet, a French criminal who in the early 2000s pulled off not one, not two, but three daring prison escapes, all with a little help from his friends on the outside.
French criminal Pascal Payet escaped from prison in a hijacked helicopter in 2001. While on the run, he organized the escape of two friends, once again using the old helicopter trick. After being sent back to jail, it took Payet only 2 years to escape again in a helicopter. 19-year-old Maria del Mar Ariona was caught attempting to smuggle her husband out of prison in a suitcase in Mexico.
See, Payet was a charismatic guy, a smooth talker who could charm the stripes off a zebra. And he used that charm to his advantage, cultivating relationships with guards, inmates, anyone who could be of use. But Payet's real ace in the hole was his network of loyal friends and family on the outside. They were the ones who procure the tools, the maps, the getaway vehicles, all the while maintaining an air of normalcy, blending in with the everyday crowd, even as they orchestrated one of the most audacious prison breaks in recent memory. His first escape in 2001 involved a hijacked helicopter. That's right, you heard me correctly. A helicopter. Picture this. Payet's accomplices, disguised as tourists, chartered a helicopter for a sightseeing tour. But as they flew over the prison yard, they brandished weapons, forcing the pilot to land in the courtyard. Within minutes, Payet, as if on cue, strolled out into the yard, hopped into the waiting helicopter, and soared away to freedom. It was a scene straight out of an action movie, a testament to the audacity of Payet and the unwavering loyalty of his crew. Of course, Payet's taste of freedom was short-lived. He was recaptured a few months later. But did that deter him? Not a chance. He escaped again in 2003, this time with the help of accomplices who'd infiltrated the prison disguised as guards. They simply walked him out the front gate in broad daylight. Each escape showcased Payet's audacity, his ability to exploit weaknesses in the system, and the unwavering commitment of his allies on the outside. His story is a stark reminder that even in the most controlled environments, human connections, loyalty, and a healthy dose of cunning can upend even the most carefully laid plans. Payet's story isn't just about daring escapes. It's about the bonds we forge, the lengths we go to for those we care about, even if it means bending, or in his case, completely shattering the rules. Chapter 3. The Great Disguise. Fading into the shadows. Some escapes are about brute force, others about meticulous planning, but then there are those that hinge on a single brilliant act of deception, a transformation so complete, so audacious that it boggles the mind. Take the case of Frederick Barrett, a British criminal who, in 1999, managed to simply walk out of one of England's toughest prisons, not by scaling walls or tunneling underground, but by transforming himself into a woman. Barrett, you see, wasn't your typical hardened criminal. He was a con man, a chameleon, a master of disguise. He understood the power of perception, how a simple change in appearance could make you invisible in plain sight. While serving time for armed robbery, Barrett hatched a plan so audacious, so outlandish, that it had a good chance of working, simply because no one would believe he'd be crazy enough to try it. He decided to become, for all intents and purposes, a woman. For months, he studied the mannerisms of female visitors, the way they walked, talked, even the way they held their handbags. He used smuggled makeup to craft a convincing feminine visage, complete with lipstick, rouge, and even a wig. He practiced his new persona, perfecting his voice, his gait, his every move until he was confident he could pass as a woman. Then, on the day of his escape, dressed in a floral dress, a wig carefully concealing his closely shaved head, and clutching a handbag, Barrett simply strolled out of the prison gates, blending in with a group of departing female visitors. The guards, none the wiser, waved him through, completely oblivious to the fact that they were witnessing a daring escape unfold right before their eyes. Barrett's escape was a testament to the power of observation, the ability to blend in, to become invisible in a crowd. He understood that sometimes the most effective way to escape isn't by force, but by subtly becoming someone, something else entirely. But Barrett's story also raises questions about the nature of identity, the masks we all wear, and the ease with which we can be fooled by appearances. It's a stark reminder that sometimes the greatest illusions are the ones we create for ourselves. From the cold, unforgiving walls of Alcatraz to the bustling streets of a French city, these stories of prison escapes offer a glimpse into the dark underbelly of the human experience, the lengths we'll go to for a taste of freedom. They force us to confront the fallibility of even the most secure systems, the power of human ingenuity, and the unwavering strength of the human spirit. But beyond the daring escapes and ingenious plots, these stories spark a larger conversation about the nature of justice, the effectiveness of our prison systems, and the very essence of what it means to be free. What do you think? Which escape shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that will challenge your perceptions and keep you on the edge of your seat.